Okay, we're going to look now at the variegated sky. And don't worry if you can't spell that, I'll put it up on the screen in a second. But don't forget, we're not here to spell things, we're here to learn to paint. Now, all the variegated sky is, unlike the graded sky, which runs with one colour from, in this case, blue down to very, very pale blue down to nothing at the horizon. The variegated sky has two or more colours in it, so there's a very blended transition from one colour to another, and that's all that it means. Now in this case I'm going to use three colours. Here I've made a warm grey colour from light red and ultramarine blue. Here we've got the light red on its own, and here we've got raw sienna on its own. So I'm just going to run these three colours together, and it's typical of a sky that you might see with an evening sunset. Gives it another real lovely atmosphere. Incidentally, with all of these skies, when you're trying to produce nicely blended washes, if you find a little difficulty in avoiding stripes, put some clean water on the paper first, just to dampen it. Don't flood it, just dampen the whole of the paper. Let it dry in a bit so that the gloss goes off the paper to a dull sheen, and then put your colours on, and you'll find they'll blend very much easier because of the water that's already in the paper. The only thing you've got to remember is that you must put your colours on a lot stronger, because they're going to be diluted by that water that's already in the paper. Anyway, on to the variegated wash. We're going to start off with a good brushful of this grey colour at the top, like that. And then I'm going to add in, I'm going to rinse the brush out in clean water. Well, it was clean water when I started, it's not so clean now. And I'm going to add in to that grey some raw sienna. But I'm, again, just like the graded wash and the flat wash, I'm going into the colour and just pulling it down and letting the paint run down the paper. Now I'm going to clean the brush again, go into the yellow and add a little bit more yellow raw sienna, so it starts becoming more obviously yellow and less grey. Wash again. This time I'm going to go almost pure into the pure raw sienna, and that'll blend down with a little bit of the grey that's in there. And then we'll go one more go into the raw sienna. Now, clean my brush out again. I'm going to bring some of the light red mix on its own into the raw sienna. Show you like that. You can see I've brought some of the light red over into the raw sienna mix here, and we'll blend that in. Then I'll do the same again, and this time of course there's a little bit more red in that raw sienna, so it's starting to get a bit more red. Now I'm going to bring almost pure light red into the last couple of sweeps of the brush. And finally, you can see now as it started to blend together, we have the grade from the grey through to the yellow and finally through to the light red. If you want to move it around to create some nice effects while the paint's still wet, so it's not so obviously stripy and they start running together, don't be afraid to move the paper around or have it vertically upright. You can see that some of these colours are starting to run together into each other. This is a great technique, incidentally, if you're doing stormy skies and you want rain from the heavy part of the sky to run down into the lighter part of the sky. Right, we've let the sky dry and I've added just a little hint of a landscape scene. These are no more than blobs of paint. It's the same colours that I've used in the sky, the ultramarine blue, light red and raw sienna. And you can see it's given a lovely effect because the glow of the sunset is now shining through and into all the other features we've added. And this is an important aspect that you need to bring into your paintings, because you can see by taking the sky down in effect to the bottom of the page, this red glow has not only come through the bottom of the sky here, but it's also carried on into the foreground fields. Now here I've used the background colour of the sky to shine through little spaces I've left in the church, so it looks like the lights are switched on in the evening. Now what I've got here are two pieces of L-shaped scrap mount card from a mount that's gone wrong in the past, but I find these tremendously useful to place on a picture whilst you're working on it, so that you can make sure that the composition looks right, and particularly if you have a tendency to put features too close to the edge of a painting that might be obscured or might adversely affect the rest of the picture, you can tell immediately by putting these mounts across the picture as to whether or not it's going to work. And you can obviously change the composition if you think that might be a better composition, so you scrap the rest of the painting. Well, so be it. That's what watercolour painting is all about. So you can move things around to your heart's content. So two pieces of L-shaped card like that is a really useful tool to check out the way your picture is progressing before you've actually finished it.